Time to talk some more NBA play-in, everybody. And as a Chicago Bulls fan, this one I feel like is going to hurt me to talk about. Quick reminder to like and subscribe and do all those things, and more importantly, leave a comment. Like, I want to talk to you guys. Like, I want to discuss all of this, whether we agree, disagree. I love the conversations. I've responded to every comment on my YouTube channel so far. So if you leave a comment, I will respond to it. All right, now that that plug is over, I hate doing the plugs, man. They're cringy, but I have to run this thing like a business now, so that's what it is. All right, just subscribe and do what you're told. Anyway, basketball stuff, right? So let's talk Bulls Hawks, right? The 9-10 matchup. These two teams have just been in a horrible spot this whole season, right? Like, the Atlanta Hawks pay a lot of money to this team to be better than what they are. They traded basically everything to go get DeJounte Murray to pair with Trae Young, and it has not worked, like, at all. You look at the numbers when those two play together, not good. Even when just DeJounte Murray is on the court with this Hawks team, it's not good. Trae Young's at least like a positive with them, but like, it has not been beneficial to them at all. Obviously, they're very good individual players, just hasn't gone well for them this year. Looking at the Chicago Bulls, they're just a dumpster fire that are run by morons because they don't know like how to value guys, when to trade them, anything like that. Most of these guys shouldn't be on the team at this point because they should have been traded for assets. Obviously, there's some major injuries on both sides of these teams. Jalen Johnson is out for Atlanta, so that's kind of a struggle. And then the Bulls, who isn't hurt? Zach LaVine is out. Lonzo Ball is out, who hasn't played in a while, right? But Patrick Williams is out. Like, there's a lot of people missing in this. But anyway, let's start talking about the like defensive matchups and everything, like some of the game plan that I think we'll see in this game, who's ultimately going to win, and we'll just go from there. And also, for those of you that don't know, these are like spreadsheets that I've been building to help kind of visualize like a little bit of storytelling for these videos that I'm doing. So if you guys like them, let me know. I've actually had people hit me up on Discord and be like, can I have access to your spreadsheets? And I've done that. So hit me up if you're interested. But all right, let's start at the top here. Vucevic versus Capella. There's an immediate advantage for Nikola Vucevic. Clint Capella, let me just tell you, all my NBA coaching friends love Clint Capella, like, and I do as well. Great dude, and he's just the ultimate, like, I do what I'm supposed to do every game, and I do it well. Love that out of Clint Capella. Vucevic doesn't like to roll very much. He pops all the time, and how are they going to guard that, right? Like, most likely they're going to have to watch Kobe White coming off these screens because he's attacking so much, or maybe it's DeMar DeRozan and he's trying to get to his spot, so you got to help on him. And so you're either relinquishing a three-pointer to Vucevic, or you're letting DeMar get to his spot, or Kobe White or somebody else. That's going to be an immediate problem for Atlanta, right? That's not good. And if Clint Capella just like stays out on them, then there's no rim protection. On the opposite side of the court, Vucevic can play more of a drop coverage, but when Trae Young or like DeJounte are coming off the screen, you typically have to help. So are you relinquishing kind of those mid-ranges and floaters that Trae and DeJounte like so much? That's kind of up to you guys, right? Because otherwise, Clint Capella's just waiting in the dunker spot the whole time, and that's a place where Vucevic, honestly, is probably fine for the most part, especially when you have good help defenders and guys like Caruso and Torrey Craig out there. But I just think the advantage of Vucevic being able to play like some drop and maybe just letting them have their mid-range shots is probably the way you want to go. I think you're probably going to see a lot of switching between these three positions right here because both teams not very big, and so the 2 through 4 are pretty switchable. Like, Torrey Craig can go out and guard any of these guys, right? Obviously, DeJounte Murray is a tougher guard than normal, and you want Caruso on him at most points, but I think you're going to be able to switch a lot of this stuff, and that's going to probably be to the benefit of both teams. DeAndre Hunter can go out and guard any of these dudes. Bogdan, while not a great defender, can go out and at least contest on all these guys. DeJounte Murray historically is a good defender, hasn't been too great this year, but again, like Torrey Craig, not a ton bigger than him, and it's not like Torrey Craig's going to take him into the post or anything anyways, just has to guard him on the perimeter. So I think that the defensive switchability here for both teams, like, there's not really a clear advantage. As far as like actual matchups go, I would assume they want DeAndre Hunter on DeRozan. You're going to want to try and get some length to contest DeRozan shots, because DeRozan's going to be where they go to, right? Like, he's just going to be the go-to scorer, and even if you look at like the most recent like 7 games, it's all DeRozan. He's getting you 30 points a game. He's hitting an absurd amount from everywhere. Like, that's what he's going to do, right? They go to Vucevic after that, and then Dosunmu. Kobe White's been a little bit cold as of late, so that's something to watch for in itself. But you have to assume they want Hunter on him because he is a good defender, and he's got a little more length than like a Bogdan or Murray do, and you're going to have to disrupt him from taking those mid-range shots that he wants so much. That leaves Bogdan to probably guard Torrey Craig. Torrey Craig's mostly just been a spacer for the Bulls this year, so that leaves Bogdan in a little bit better position to play. Caruso, mostly just attacking closeout, spacing off of like drive and kick, so DeJounte Murray can play a little bit of help defense there. Maybe they even put him on Kobe White. That probably actually makes more sense. So maybe you don't see as much switchability there than if you want DeJounte to just make sure that Kobe White stays cold, and then Trae Young goes on Caruso, which maybe then Caruso has to make a more of a like a conceded effort to really like attack Trae Young or something, right? Like those are the counters if I'm Billy Donovan for the Bulls, like I'm thinking about and making sure I'm emphasizing in huddles. And thinking about it as well, like I'll be interested to see if they put Caruso on Trae or DeJounte. I know you would think immediately Trae Young's the better player, so we want to put Caruso on him. But having the switchability between the 4 through 2 is just a valuable thing to have going on. And Kobe White does just have a lot of size on Trae Young, and he's quick. So hopefully he can stay in front of him at the very least. It's going to be hard to stop Trae Young regardless. He's an offensive like superstar. So there's just only so much you can do. So you might rather have Caruso be in passing lanes and helping on switching. Yeah, anyway, so obviously Kobe White hasn't been playing great as of late. We can look at just like the last like 7 games. He's been pretty cold. If he wins Most Improved Player this year, that's awesome. He probably deserves it. There's been a lot of guys that should be in that conversation. I might give it to Jalen Williams personally, but that's just me. But anyway, yeah, Kobe White's been awesome this year. The shooting was really, really electric for a while. Obviously, he's big, strong, and he can finish around the rim. So if he can take Trae Young off the dribble and really muscle him, I think that's going to be advantageous to the Bulls, especially if DeRozan can keep hitting his threes. I think that's going to be awesome. The Bulls don't have like a ton of floor spacing, but I think playing Kobe White with DeSumo is going to be something you see more than anything else. And so that's where a little bit more of the floor spacing comes in. But then again, Kobe's got to guard Trae Young. I don't think you shut down Trae Young. I think you can only try to hold him back as much as possible. And that's just going to be the challenge that he has. Let's compare benches a little bit. Neither of them all that interesting. I think there's a clear advantage for the Bulls, though. Obviously, Vit for Atlanta, really good shooter. He brings a lot of size and versatility to them, plays very hard. So that's going to be a guy to watch. Bruno Fernando, I think he's pretty non-impact for the most part. Like, I like his energy and everything. He's big and strong, but as soon as Andre Drummond comes on him, I'd like to think that the Bulls are going to completely out-rebound them. I mean, not many people can rebound with the likes of Big Dre over here, but I just think that's a pretty clear advantage when you come to, like, bench bigs going at each other, and hopefully that can help, one, keep Atlanta from playing offense because we're getting offensive rebounds, but giving the Bulls more and more chances to make things happen. Last guy I see them really throwing out there is maybe like a Garrison Matthews, just a nice shooting type. He's going to be aggressive on defense, so, you know, is what it is. Just a floor spacer for when they inevitably want to split up DeJounte Murray and Trae Young. As to the Bulls, DeSumo's been great this whole year. I didn't understand why they weren't playing him at first. I was like, well, one, we just gave him this contract. Why did we bring in Javon Carter? I like Javon Carter, but I'm like, why did we bring him in? Why aren't we just developing DeSumo? Now people are seeing how good this guy is as a floor spacer, a defender, can play the 1 or the 2. Really, really nice player. Javonte Green is finally back in the Bulls. He's my favorite player on the team. I promise you, he's my favorite player on the team. He just dunks everything, and he's so good defensively. He's just everywhere. Just a little bundle of energy at 6'4" that can play like the 2 through the 5 if you need him to. But I think Javonte Green could be a real difference maker in the last couple games for the Bulls. You can see 16 points a game, shooting 61% from the field. Absolutely crazy. Even getting in a couple free throw attempts a game. You get a couple electric dunks from him that really get the team going, or a couple big steals on like maybe like a Clint Capella is trying to back him down and he swipes around him, gets a steal. That could be a huge like momentum boost for them. And then like I said, Andre Drummond I just think is a pretty clear advantage. He's probably the best backup center in basketball, unless I'm totally like blanking on somebody else, but like I would have to assume that he is. And yeah, just having Andre Drummond to get like every rebound for you, as long as he's not trying to dunk on Torrey Craig again, I think there's an advantage there. As far as like actual game plans that these teams are going to be going to, like I said, the DeJounte Trae thing just has not worked, so I assume they're going to probably stagger them a good amount, and I assume that they try to go to the high pick and roll to try and pull Vooch out as much as possible, give Trae and DeJounte enough room to operate. Maybe the Bulls try to let Trae just have his little floaters, which he's probably going to make pretty often, and that's a tough one to give up, but you'd rather him not get hot from 3, or they'll maybe let him chuck from 3 and say, hey, well, maybe let him beat us that way. I don't know. I don't like giving up those shots. I'd rather let him operate in the mid-range and have to make him make a decision, but who knows? Like, DeJounte's going to prefer that, right? Like, that's where he wants to go, so maybe you guard him differently. I don't know. As far as the Bulls go, I think it's going to be a pretty simple offense, as well as a lot of pick and pop between DeMar and Kobe with Vooch. That just seems to make the most sense to me. DeMar's going to have the ball, I feel like, a ton. I think his usage rate is going to be high. At the end of the day, if DeMar's going to his mid-range shot, man, and he's just hitting, the Bulls are a tough team to beat in that sense. And that's why the Bulls have had such up and down points in the year, because like they've looked so good at points, but then their defense just completely falls apart and they can't stop anybody, and that's usually where things start to go wrong. But I think with Javonte Green being on the team now with guys like Caruso, I don't see that happening quite as much. All right, a quick look at things. Atlanta's been really bad on the road this year, so hopefully an advantage there to Chicago. I'm rooting for the Bulls in the game, right? I have to. I can't not root for my boys. They matched up a couple times this year. The Bulls won 2 out of the 3 of them. Bogdanovich has played well in every single one. That's not surprising to me at all. So we'll have to see how we can shut him down there, make sure he doesn't get his shots up. And then DeRozan has absolutely killed them every time as well. And I'd be curious to see, like, and I'd have to find something, I'm sure it's on Basketball Reference, like how those two compare of like a DeAndre Hunter guarding DeMar DeRozan, but I want to see how effective he is. I'm sure they've thrown him at him at some point. It hasn't really stopped him. So, you know what? I just think that's what's going to happen. I think DeRozan's going to have like 35 points or something. The Bulls obviously aren't a great three-point shooting team, so that's going to be something to watch, right? Because, like, who's really getting hot from 3 on this team? Like, it's pretty much Kobe White. Desumu's not going to take, like, a ton of them, but he's hitting a high percentage. And, like, maybe Vooch gets hot at some point. It just hasn't really happened all that often. But, like, there's only one guy that can really go, like, nuclear from 3 on this team, and it's Kobe White. Whereas, like, Trae Young can do it basically every night in the NBA, so that's a little bit scary to me. And obviously Bogdan has that capability as well, and DeJounte Murray's a tough shot hitter, so that's where you get a little more nervous if you're a Bulls fan, right? All right, we're also just going to finish off by looking at like the last 7 games for Atlanta. DeJounte Murray's kind of been that guy because Trae Young's been working his way back onto the court, so apparently he's not going to have a minutes restriction in that game, so I guess we'll see. Bogdanovich has been awesome. No Jalen Johnson. That is a huge loss for them. That's really unfortunate. DeAndre Hunter's been like really aggressive recently, but he takes a lot of bad shots, so I'm not sure I'm all that worried about that if I'm a Bulls fan. It's going to be like, hey, make sure Clint Capella doesn't get like some offensive rebounds and kick back out to them because we don't want Trae Young getting all these attempts and everything, right? All right, but as far as my prediction goes, I think the Bulls are going to win this one. I just don't think this Hawks team has any like conductiveness to playing together. I just really don't think so. I don't think the Bulls make it past either the Heat or the Sixers in the next round at all. I think they'll get like absolutely smoked by them, and if they somehow make it by 4-0 for the Celtics for sure. But I think the Bulls are going to get him in this one. I don't think they're going to have a way to stop DeRozan, and I think they're going to have enough defensively to shut down either DeJounte Murray or Trae Young, and however they want to focus on that. So that's just what I think. I think it's really going to come down to the Bulls being able to play a little bit of defense, and the Hawks can't. So take that as you will. That's going to be my prediction. I'm trying not to be biased as a Bulls fan either. I truly think that's going to happen. So yeah, you guys let me know what you think, though, in the comments. Who do you think is going to win this one? Are you going to be watching this game? But until then, thanks, y'all, for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, do all that stuff, yada, 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 and we'll see y'all later. Bye.